Hey guys, happy Thursday or Wednesday, whenever you're watching this video. I hope you're able to watch this video before we start class on Thursday. Okay, we're going into chapter 5, a new chapter. All right, here we go. So just some key dates I want to go over with you. You do have a practice problem here. Sorry, two practice problems, an assignment that's due. Please remember, take a picture of your assignment. If it's more than one page, just send it as one file, please. Make sure you send it to me upright. Make sure you don't put your name on it. Make sure it's legible, please. And remember, I'm grading for effort and completeness, not correctness, okay? We'll definitely go over this on Monday during class. We're trying to get ready for Tuesday's quiz for chapter 4. I'm sorry, what am I talking about? Chapter 5. All right, so let's just review a little bit from chapter 4. Remember when we see this phrase, describe the distribution? Well, first off, right now we're dealing with things like histograms, as you'll see in the next page, but remember that histograms are only for quantitative data. Quantitative, do you guys remember what that means? We're only dealing with data variables that can be counted or measured. So weight, height, distance, amount of money, amount of M&Ms, things like that. Okay? So when we describe a distribution, we're going to use the acronym CUSS. You guys remember what this stands for? Center, unusual features, shape, and spread. When you talk about this on a test, you do not have to use these in this order, variability. Okay, make sure you write out what C stands for, make sure you write out what U stands for. You can answer these in bullet points in context. Okay, that's very clear. Make sure you discuss them in context. But if you just write CUSS, people may not know what you're talking about. I will, but let's just practice like for the actual AP exam. Make sure you list out what those words mean. So for this chapter, we are going to be focusing in on the center and the spread, okay? Unusual features and shapes, you definitely still need to know those, but for chapter 5, we're going to focus in and zone in on those two. All right. So with center, do you remember there's two measures that we can use to discuss center? Hopefully you remember it's the mean and the median. Okay? So sometimes we can talk about both, other times we cannot talk about both. So which measure should we use? So if you look on page 82, it talks about this. First thing, the mean or the median, like that middle point, what we're looking at is like the balancing point. Okay? So think about this. If you had this histogram and it was balanced, like if this was a pencil, your balance would be somewhere around right here, right? Right in the middle. Okay? But what about this histogram right here? If I put my pencil right here, is that the balancing point? No, right? It would be a little bit more, maybe like over here, a little bit more to the left, right? And same thing here. The balancing point would not be right here where the mode is. It would be a little bit more to the right, okay? So that's what we call a center. So when you have a symmetric distribution, your mean, okay? This symbol right here stands for mean. Your mean is going to be approximately equal to your median. If the distribution is exactly symmetrical, which is very rare in real life statistics, then your mean would be exactly equal to your median. But you guys know that we don't have, exactly symmetric distributions in real life. Rarely do we have. So it'd be approximately the same, okay? When we have a distribution like these two, these are skewed. Do you remember which one this is? Is that skewed left or skewed right? Take off your socks and look at your toes. Okay, this is skewed left. Okay? That means your median would be somewhere maybe like right here, would you say? Your mean is going to be a little bit lower to the left. Remember that these values, just like if this is 0, this is 2, this could be 4, this could be 6, this could be 8. Your mean is going to be pulled down by the lower values. So your mean is actually going to be less than your median here. Now same thing here. I'm just making some arbitrary values. Your mean is going to be greater than your median. Okay, and you guys know that this is skewed right. So I would definitely write this into your notes and just remember this part. Okay. So which one should we use? When something's symmetric, when a distribution is symmetric, use the mean. Okay? When the distribution is skewed, use the median. And you can see this, it's written at the top of page 83. It's highlighted for you. So check that out, okay? Top of page 83. All right, sounds good. So now let's talk about the spread here. Spread, there are three measures that we could discuss. The first two are found on page 75. Yeah, 75. So we've talked about the range. Okay, on page 75. The formula for the range is just the maximum value. It's the largest value in your distribution minus the minimum. So it's just showing from the lowest to the highest, that distance is going to be your range. We also have something called the IQR. It's listed a little bit lower on page 75. Please make sure you look in your textbook, okay? You can just pause the video and take a look right there. This is going to be the IQR stands for the interquartile range. And it's your upper quartile minus your lower quartile. We like to abbreviate the upper quartile as Q3 minus Q1. Okay. All right. And the last one is the standard deviation, which is on page 83. Okay, and there's a formula for that by hand. You can do this by hand, or you could use your calculator, which for our calculator, which is what we're going to use for our class. Okay? So again, just like with the center, we know that it's going to be different, like which one should you use in what situation. If something's symmetric, if the distribution is symmetric, okay, you want to use either the range or the standard deviation. Okay, range or standard deviation. If something's skewed, that means you have some extreme values. Remember, the range and standard deviation is very affected. It's largely affected by any extreme values, but the IQR is more resistant to any type of like extreme values or outliers. Okay? So this part's key. All right, sounds good. So let's do one example together, and the rest we'll cover more of in class on Thursday. In class on Thursday, I'm going to call on a few of you to just summarize the things you saw in the video. So I hope on Thursday when we start our lecture portion of the class that you take out your notes and you can look back and see what you just learned, okay? All right. So number 3 here, go ahead and take a moment, pause the video, and read over number 3 and see what it's asking for. Okay, so we're talking about the price of 10 different electric smooth top ranges, and we wanted to calculate the mean, median, quartiles, range, and the IQR. Okay, so the first one they asked for is the mean. So mean, and I know it says by hand, but is it okay if I show you how to do it by calculator? Okay, don't tell anyone I showed you this, okay? So let me show you how to do this on a calculator. I want you to see page 86. Right. Go to page 86, and it'll tell you the instructions on how to do this, but I'll show you on the calculator. So you're going to first go to Stat, and you're going to hit Edit, okay? And when you go there, there are going to be different lists, and your list, you may have numbers in your list. If you have some numbers in your list, let's just put in some numbers, okay? All you got to do is go highlight the L1 and hit clear. Clear, and hit enter, and they'll all disappear. Or if you want to go the longer way, you can go to each value and go clear. I'm sorry, you go delete, 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 delete. Well, who has time for that, right? So go ahead and put in those values, the different prices, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You go do that too, please. 50, oops. 50. Okay. Where it says L1 and the parentheses with a number in it, the 10, that just shows how many values you've inputted. So when you have longer lists, you want to, and it's very easy for you to skip a number, you want to make sure that you have 10 or you have the number, your n, your sample size, okay? So I'm going to hit enter. All right. So the mean still hasn't popped up, so we're going to go to stat, we're going to go calc, and then option number 1, which is 1 var stats. The var stands for variable. We're only dealing with one variable right now. So hit enter. And depending on your calculator, it may ask you, you may see a window like you see for mine, or it may just say 1 var stats blinking, okay? And in there you have to specify what list you want to use. If you have other lists in there, you want to specify which list, whichever list, L2, L3, L4. But by default, if you don't type anything in, it's automatically going to use your L1, just like how L1 appeared right here. Okay, frequency list, don't worry about that, but I'm going to hit calculate. Okay, and then it gives you this information right here. All right. So guys, can you see what the mean is right here? Remember that symbol I showed you earlier? Okay, the X bar right there. So our mean is going to be 1,001.5. Okay, and just to make sure, if you want to know, how many values you inputted, look at the n. N equals 10, so there's 10 values. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put this aside for now. Let's take a look at B. So now we want to find the median and the quartiles. So this time I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to actually do this by hand. So the median and quartiles, what you need to do is the values that they gave you, you have to put those in order, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rewrite these values. If it's okay with you, I'm going to rewrite them up here. Okay. So the smallest value is 565, 750, 850, 900, 1,000, 1,050, 1,050, 1,200, 1,250, and 1,400. Okay. So can you guys make sure your list is the same as mine? All right. So the median is the middle number. Now there are 10 values here. So you think, okay, what's the value? What's the middle value of 10? So you would think 5, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is this 1,000 right here? Is that the middle value right here? Okay. No, actually your middle value, your median is going to be in between these two values right here. So your median is going to be in between the 1,000 and 1,050. A good way you could do this is super high tech. You can use your fingers, right? Put them at the end and go boom, 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 boom. And then you know that the median's in between. So the median is actually going to be the average of 1,000 and 1,050. Okay, divided by 2. It's going to be 1,025. That's going to be our median. Okay. Our quartiles now. So the quartiles, what's asking for is, it's asking for your Q3 and your Q1. Okay. So your third quartile and your first quartile. So if this is our median right here, it's in between. The quartile, it's going to be, quartile number 1 is 25%. So it's really in between, it's the half of the half, okay? So don't even look at this side. It's the middle number of these 5 values. Okay, so boom, boom, it would be 850. So this right here is quartile number 1. Okay? And then over here, in the middle of these 5 values is going to be your quartile number 3. Boom, 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 so that would be 1200. If you have 2 values for your Q3 or Q1, then you do just like you did with the median, you find the middle value, you take the average of the 2. Okay? So here's this. All right. And then see the range, right? You guys remember that's simply your max minus your minimum. So that's just going to be my 1400 minus my 565. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, that's 835. And then I need my IQR, which makes it easy because I already did it earlier. It's just my Q3 minus my Q1 equals 1200 minus 850 equals 350. Okay? So this is all by hand minus the mean, but let's double check. Your calculator actually does this for you. So go back and go back to the list, the 1 var stats you created, and then you see that it's blinking. Not many people know this, but I'll tell you. Don't tell anyone else, okay? So scroll down, and it'll tell you the minimum value. Okay, the minimum value is 565. Let me make sure my minimum value is 565, okay? My Q1 I wrote down as 850. That's good. My median is 1025. I got that. My Q3 is 1200. My maximum is 1400. Boom, I did it. What we actually just did right now, this is called the 5-number summary, which we'll get into on our next video. Okay? That's just a heads up. Class, congratulations. There you go. I'll see you on Thursday in class.